Did you know that more than 30% of millennials and Gen Z people do not feel in control of their lives and are not satisfied with their mental health? Funny enough, the same age groups are the main buyers of self-help content, and that industry has now grown to be over $50 billion in 2024. So how can these two things coexist? Shouldn't we all be happier, healthier and in control of our lives with all that awesome information out there? Not really, because even the best self-help books can't take you to a place where the real change begins. And that is your very own personal existential crisis. So in this video, I'll prove that having an existential crisis is a good thing for you, and I'll show you how to get there faster, so you could kickstart your journey to the life that you really want. Let's begin. Here's a quick question for you. Do you like being uncomfortable? Do you enjoy the feelings of fear, anxiety or disappointment? If you do, well, you must be a little special, because most people hate being uncomfortable. In fact, we do everything we can to avoid that feeling. We numb ourselves to it via various types of escapism like booze, social media, overworking at our jobs, over-consuming self-help books, and generally through keeping our minds distracted. And the existential crisis is ultimately uncomfortable. It's when you wake up one day and you realize that your life has been a series of choices that you made half asleep, turning your whole life path into one big and boring compromise. That's when you question your purpose, your place in the world, your very existence, and hence the name. And it just sucks. So no surprise that it takes decades for most people to arrive to the existential crisis. And usually, once no amount of numbing can no longer argue with the tick-tock of the time running out. So let me tell you this. Don't wait until you hear that clock. Start seeking your existential crisis today, right now. And I'll give you 4 main reasons why you should. Reason number 1. The plot twist. We all have comfort movies, right? The ones that are familiar and pleasantly predictable. The ones we watch when we are in pajamas on weekends. And they can be a great comfort in moderation. However, keep watching them all the time and soon you will be in a state of lethargic boredom. The movies that do stick with us, that we keep thinking about days after we watch them, are the ones that take risks and have cool plot twists. And that's what existential crisis can be for you. It can allow you to rewrite the script of your life and make it less cliché. Reason number 2. The edge of life. Try to recall the most memorable moments of your life. Maybe when you went skydiving, or maybe it was when you moved out of your parents' house and first arrived at college. Maybe it was that sweet long moment as you were waiting on one knee for your loved one to say yes. Of course, not all of them were happy. Some were scary, some were terribly sad. Still, whatever those moments were, you remember them vividly. And that's because they are the ones that cut through all that is mundane and normal and made you feel deeply. They took you to the sharp edge of life. And that is how existential crisis feels. It's raw, it's powerful, and there are few things that can make you feel alive like it does. Reason number 3. There is no spoon. Freedom is a popular word these days, mostly when it comes to financial freedom. But even that one, if you look deep enough, can be brought back to the freedom of choice to live your life as you want it. Financial freedom is just one of the tools for that. Unless you're chained somewhere in the basement or suffer from a terrible disability or illness, there is only one thing that stands between you and your freedom, and that is you. Or rather, your beliefs and the baggage of life that you've accumulated so far. Now, the beauty of the existential crisis is that it has the power to erase all of that in one swoop. Your presumptions don't matter. Opinions of others don't matter. You can drop your baggage if it weighs you down. Nothing is true, nothing matters, which means that anything could matter. And you are free to find out what it is that really matters to you. Reason number 4, the one-step program. I'm sure you've all seen those books and videos and posts on 30-day programs to change your life. Or 90-day programs, doesn't matter. There are thousands of them out there. The problem is that most of this content is actually useless. No matter how many books you read or how many podcasts you listen to, you can't change your life unless you feel deeply in your very core that you have no choice but to change, that you cannot leave one more moment going in the same direction that you have been going. So, no, you can't change your life in 30 days, but you can change it in 1 second if you reach and embrace your existential crisis. Okay, so if all of that didn't scare you off, let's talk about how you can actually help yourself reach that state of an existential crisis without waiting for it to arrive for another 20 odd years. I'll give you some straightforward steps here that worked for me and I know worked for other people. So try these 4 things. Step number 1, the walkabout. Here's a quote from the Red Hot Chili Peppers song of the same name. I think I'll go on a walkabout and find out what it's all about. And that ain't hard, just me and my own 2 feet. In the heat I've got myself to meet. That is a beautiful summary of a very important first step towards your existential crisis. You first need to create an environment for reaching it. The one which is free from distractions and will allow you to confront your own thoughts. And the easiest way to do that for everyone is just go for a walk. Preferably somewhere quiet and in nature, but failing that, it can be in the middle of a busy city. Just get yourself some noise-cancelling earphones with some instrumental music. Delete or block all your social media, messenger and email apps and just walk for a long time. The idea, just like it says in the song, is to walk until you meet yourself. You may of course need multiple walks like this, just to get in the right frame of mind, but it may also only take one. And that's where the next steps come in. Step number 2. The questions of everything. Now that you're on a walkabout, for the first 10-20 minutes just focus on the activity of walking and the world around you. The colors, the sounds, people and objects, the fact that you're moving through the world. This will ground you a little, which will help to deal with the fun part. And the fun part are the questions. You have to question everything, starting with obvious things in your life, like your job, your closest relationships, your core beliefs. Why do you do what you do? What is the point? Ask these questions relentlessly. It's going to feel very uncomfortable. You will feel your brain pushing back against it. You'll feel the urge to check out your Facebook feed or YouTube just to get that feeling of stability back. That's when you know that you're on the right track. Go even harder on these questions now. Remind yourself that you will die and ask yourself, what if you die tomorrow? How do your everyday worries and fears look now? How does your life, the way it is right now, look on the edge of the abyss with no time left? Is it a bright flame or just a weak flicker? Once you feel unbalanced enough, you go even deeper. Look at the sky. What is you in the face of the universe? Does your very existence have meaning? And keep digging deeper. And that's when you will arrive to the step number 3. The awakening. Do you remember the time when you had a very bad flu or COVID or whatever, when you are just sick in bed for days? Try to recall that first day after recovery, the first feeling of going out back into the world for the first time, breathing in the fresh air and feeling awake and even reborn in a small way. If you ask yourself enough questions and you embrace the uncertainty and the dread that they bring, at some point your existential crisis will hit you. Embrace it, and it will leave you exhausted but feeling more awake than you have ever felt before. You won't have the answers to all of the questions, but what you will have are the answers to the most important ones. What direction do you want your life to take? What matters most to you? And can you live another day or even another second without going for what really matters to you? And only from that point onwards is when the good self-development and education content may start actually making the difference for you, because you already have the answer to your life. You just need proper action points to get there. And so here is me wishing that you reach that existential crisis of yours and make it to the other side renewed and start changing your life. And I hope that you found this video useful and maybe thought-provoking. And if you did, please subscribe and leave a like and a comment. It helps this new channel more than you know. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.